This is a 60-year-old woman with a focal low attenuation mass lesion seen in the head of the pancreas. This could represent a cystic lesion, a focally dilated pancreatic duct, or a focal mass lesion such as an islet cell or adenocarcinoma. We're going to examine the area with an echoendoscope and a fine needle aspiration device. One can see the fine needle aspiration device protruding from the instrument channel, and an elevator controls the excursion of the needle. Prior to FNA, we'll assemble a single-stage Wilson-Cook FNA device. One can see a 22-gauge needle protruding from a coiled metal sheath. Protruding from the needle is a small stylet. A nurse will help us guide the echoendoscope through the mouth, into the esophagus, and into the stomach. This is performed under endoscopic guidance. Once the scope is in the stomach, ultrasound guidance will take over and will help us locate the cystic lesion in the body of the pancreas. Fine needle aspiration will be performed and the cyst fluid contents will be aspirated. This procedure usually is performed from a gastric or duodenal location using a 22-gauge needle and aspiration of the lesion, usually using one passage of the needle. One can see the needle now moving to and fro within the cystic cavity. On careful examination, one can see a small collection of mucoid material adherent to the tip of the needle. At times this interferes with the successful aspiration of the fluid. Once sufficient material has been aspirated, the 22-gauge needle is removed from the echoendoscope and the diagnostic material is placed on a glass slide. Before doing this, the needle is cleaned of gastric contents. The metal stylet is used to push the cytologic material through the needle and onto the glass slide. Small samples of fluid are placed across the glass slide, and then a second glass slide is used to make a small, thin smear that is used for cytologic examination and stored in ethanol. Excess fluid is also used to be analyzed for chemistry such as CEA and amylase. Notice the fluid that we have aspirated from this lesion. It is translucent, very viscous, and there's no evidence of blood or infected material. These findings are highly suggestive of a mucinous cystic neoplasm. At times the viscosity of the material makes it difficult to protrude the material out of the 22-gauge needle. Excess material can also be used for additional cytologic examination. Here we're looking at the stained cytologic material, and one can see thick bands of mucoid material covering the entire slide. Embedded within the mucoid material is cytologic material. These cells are mucinous epithelial cells, and there's no evidence of inflammatory debris or malignancy. These simple mucoid epithelial cells represent the lining of the mucinous cystic neoplasm. Careful examination of the cells reveals evidence of mucoid material within the cytoplasm. In summary, we have a 60-year-old woman with a focal mucinous cystic lesion with a cyst fluid CEA of 87,000. The cystic lesion was resected, and histologically we can see evidence of a moderately atypical cyst lining based over an ovarian stroma. The ovarian stroma is nearly diagnostic of a mucinous cystic neoplasm. On more careful examination, we can see that there's evidence of atypia in the border of the neoplasm. In summary, this is a mucinous cystic neoplasm that was diagnosed with FNA and cyst fluid analysis.